What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Lord PeteyTV here to give you another week of Mythic Pluses and what you need to know about it. This is week, I'm pretty sure it's 25. I can't believe that it is week 25 already for us doing our FXs. As always, if you're looking to support the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button here on the channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on our other channels. And by always, please make sure you're following us on social medias, all Twitch and all that fun stuff. Now, as for this, we're going to talk about what our affixes are for this week, and that is Tyrannical, Volcanic, Sanguine. All right, so what do you know about these affixes? Now, as always, Tyrannical bosses are going to have more health, they're going to deal more damage. Volcanic, they're going to be a little eruption beneath your feet, and it's going to knock you up into the air. And then the last thing we're going to be dealing with is the Sanguine, which is the pool of stuff that is left behind after non-boss enemies, or I should say enemies, die. And then if you walk through them, they end up getting the healing. So now take a moment to think about those. Now, where we're going to have problems this upcoming week are going to actually be, I personally think that there's going to be problems in some areas in comparison to others because of a combination of things that'll actually slow you down. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you're not properly dealing with these affixes, they're going to definitely have problems DPSing certain situations and getting through it. So we'll just take a quick run through of everything. I'm exhausted right now because of Tristan not sleeping properly. So we're just going to run through things kind of quickly. And I apologize if I'm missing some stuff. So, all right. So Braconite Hollow, you have to be very, very careful of the Sanguine, which you're going to be placing on a lot of those group mobs when you're going through there, which is going to cause pretty much a very much slowdown when trying to mass clear through that area. So be very, very careful of that. In addition to that, they randomly run around, so they're going to run through Sanguine more than one time, which is going to cause problems there. And then you're going to have problems with the bosses just dealing more damage, which is going to make a real large slowdown of you trying to deal with that. So be very careful there. So that dungeon is going to be, in my opinion, one of the harder ones for the week. Next place you're going to talk about is Freehold. So Freehold is going to be kind of a questionable one. Where you're going to have your problems is going to be, the first large pull, because you're not going to have much room to walk around for the Sanguine. You're going to have, a lot of the other pulls in there you're not going to have much movement for dropping the puddles. So that's going to cause problems throughout the whole entire dungeon, which is going to cause you a slowdown. You're going to have problems, if you don't have a really good DPS on the third boss and the second boss. So it's going to be really, really, questionable there. So be very careful. Holes of Infusion, as always, one of my most disliked dungeons in this whole entire season. And that is going to say no less to this week, because there are going to be lots of, mobs that are going to be all over the place. Even though they're not going to do as much damage as they normally do, they do have the possibility of going through the Sanguine. So be very careful when you're running around and trying to deal with that. The bosses are going to be annoying. So, as always, the first boss is just going to take forever to kill. Second boss, you're going to have to be watching of the croaks and all that with the mobs. So be careful there. You're the last boss, they just do so much damage there, so make sure you're going to lust that boss there. And then the final boss is just going to take more than one rotation to deal with, so that's going to take some problems. That's going to be a little bit of a problem there. So be careful. Now, as for that, next place, Netherian's Lair, you're going to have lots of mob groups there, big pulls. The bosses are, as always, are going to be a problem to deal with. The third one and the last one are, pretty difficult because they just have large HP pools. So that's real hard to deal with. First boss, that frontal cleave does so much damage, so you got to be careful there. So be very, very careful. And then Nefarious, all the bosses there are just really, really annoying. You do have the luxury of the chains exploding and dying. I don't remember if when you pull chains in Nefarious and kill them, if they drop Sanguine. I'm pretty sure that mobs do. So be very careful when you're pulling chains that you're not just going to kill the group because of it. And then you have, a couple of bosses which are just going to be hard to deal with. Uldaman. Ultimately, you're going to have your, your problem with the pulls of just the sheer space of trying to run through dropping Sanguine. So be very careful of that. Your bosses, I hate the bosses in that dungeon. I think they're the hardest to deal with, and you just got to be very careful when you're running through that. And then next dungeon you have is Underrot. Underrot, you're gonna have a lot of space to be able to move around and do certain things with the Sanguine, which is not too bad. There's not really a lot of pulls in there to deal with, so I don't think that's going to be so much of an issue. Where you're going to be having a lot of a rundown and problem are going to be your not your ads. I'm sorry, your mobs. So not your mobs. I'm sorry, your bosses. So for instance, the second boss, I think is going to be your hardest boss. Make sure you lust him, go through it, and hopefully everything works out well there. And then Vortex Pinnacle, you have a lot of group mobs there. Like that second half of the dungeon is going to be harder than the first, in my opinion. But even though the first set has more mobs, or I should say more hard hitting mobs, the second half, if you have people that are going to be rolling through the Sanguine and they stay up longer because they have more health pools, that's going to be an issue. So I'm very, very would be worried about that. And the mobs there are just, the bosses there are just really, really hard to deal with. So just be careful and aware of what you're going to be dealing with that. So as always, I thank you and I appreciate everybody so much for hanging out, watching these videos, listening to me ramble. I greatly appreciate it. As always, you get videos here. You're gonna get videos on Gaming Fire with Lord PeteyTV, giving you some gaming news every single week, and then stories with Lord PeteyTV that should be coming shortly, as soon as I can get enough sleep to record the voiceover for it. So, all right, I love you all. Dream big, keep gaming. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Good luck in your vaults. Healers, take your time this week. Tanks, take your time. Make sure you subscribe. Lord PeteyTV, for sub to our Rogue Energy Drinks, Twitch if you're looking to do that, and also our merch store. So, all right, love you all. Bye, everybody.